I pledge to stay drug-free.
I plan to stay drug-free.
I pledge to stay drug-free.
I pledge to be drug-free.
I pledge to stay drug-free.
And good afternoon, and welcome to the Detroit Native Sun's Expose Under the Sun. And it is sponsored by the Detroit Native Sun newspaper, and that paper is published and edited, and the president of that paper is Miss Valerie Lockhart. And later I'll give you information if you'd like to pick up a copy and would like to advertise in the Detroit Native Sun News. But our show is live, and our call-in numbers are area code 313-868-0342, 313-868-0351, or 313-868-4336. And our website is www.tv33whpr.com. And you are viewing TV33 from the awesome city of Highland Park, Michigan, as well as you can see us in parts of Detroit, as well as the neighboring suburbs. We can be viewed also on Roku, Amazon, and other media streams. But I'd like to, welcome back to the studio today my special guest. And before, when I had her on the show, I believe she was a candidate for the State Representative District 9 seat in the city of Detroit, as well as representing parts of Dearborn. So I guess today we have to give congratulations to her for winning the election. And her name is and I have to make sure that I say the title right. So I have to say the Honorable Miss Karen Whitsett, State Representative, District 9, City of Dearborn and Detroit. Welcome to the show, Karen.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
But
thank you for helping me so much.
Oh, you're very, very welcome. And I just want to ask you, just before we get started, because we're going to talk about insurance and the insurance law that came into effect. Mm-hmm. But what I'd like to ask you, Karen, what has the difference been between when you were on the show before to today? What's been different in your life?
What's been different? I would have to probably say, trying to balance a lot more of the job in Lansing, mm-hmm. and the work that has to be done here. I would have to say, quite honestly, is it on? Is it on?
Yeah, I think it is.
Okay. And to be quite honestly, a lot of the battles that I actually have to endure just in Lansing alone within the own party to try to get work done for our constituents here. And that is actually pretty shameful.
Why do you say that?
Because I would want to think that, I did think that would be the first and foremost is to look out for our citizens, and that just doesn't seem to be, unfortunately.
Well, now, what are some of the things in your district? Now, you're in District 9. Tell what boundaries that district represents.
I'll give you the rough boundaries, and that is Ford Road, mm-hmm. to a little bit above 96 Freeway, and then it's Wyoming to almost Telegraph.
Okay. And so you represent parts of Dearborn as well as parts of Detroit?
Yes, a few precincts in Dearborn.
Okay. And so now you pretty much then, when you were running, what was your platform that you were running on, and what things were you wanting to make some inroads in when you were running?
Two things that were extremely important to me, and that was the reversing the pension tax
Okay.
for seniors and also auto insurance reform. Those were the two major things that I knocked doors on, that I promised people, and I mean I promised, and I meant to keep my promise. And being on the tax committee, I was able to vote that out of the tax committee, and that did get passed in the tax committee. So now we're just waiting for that to get passed on through so that can become law. And to have auto insurance, that is no longer a bill, it is the law. So I'm very proud of that, it took over 45 years to get that done, and that we were able to get it done in less than 6 months, both of those.
Can you tell why was it taking so long, or why has it taken so long? And you said it's been trying to get passed in 45 years?
45 years, yes.
What has been the hang-up? What is really, and what has been done this time that made the difference to get that bill signed into a law?
I would have to say, and this is just in my opinion, that there seems to be a lot of self-serving and not putting the people first.
Okay.
That's why we're there. That's who we're there for. That's who we're there to represent. And there's no such thing as a perfect bill that turns into a perfect law. That's why we're there as legislators. We're there to make amendments when something is, we're still making amendments on things all the way back from before the 1900s. We're going to continuously make amendments. There's no such thing as perfect. As I explained to you before, we could sit here and we could talk about this microphone. And we could talk about this microphone and we could say, we know we're going to come up with a law regarding this microphone and how things are supposed to be. And you could have your wonderful listeners out there saying, yes, we're going to contribute our thoughts. And none of us would agree totally, completely about how this is supposed to be done and how your show is supposed to be ran around this microphone.
Well, you know, that's so interesting because especially like when you're talking about, people can say that the sky is blue, but then you have people that say that it's a dark blue, is it a light blue, is it a powder blue? So because of the fact that things continue to change and things continue to evolve, which is the same way when it comes down to laws that may have been passed, and just like when we were talking before the show about amendments, you know, you have the Bill of Rights, you have the Constitution, you have a lot of amendments that were made to the Constitution, and there may still be more amendments that may still come into effect. So, as you said, there is nothing perfect outside of God.
No, nothing perfect. And I'm not going to allow people in my community to think that the sky is falling. The sky is not falling. It is not falling. And for this can to get kicked down the road for another 40-something years, no. I saw this as an opportunity. There were only 3 of us on the Democratic side that were willing to stand up. Were there more that wanted to stand up? Absolutely. Absolutely. Don't think for a second there was not more who wanted to stand up. But they were afraid to stand up. I don't need someone to tell me how to vote other than my constituents. And I'm not going to sit in a room and argue about an issue that people in my community do not have the luxury for me to argue about. It's plain and simple as that. When I can have the affordability of having over 80% of people in my community to have something that we are going to argue for, I have no problem with arguing about it and trying to make it better. But until then, no way.
Well, Karen, many people have heard that the auto insurance reform had passed into a law, but some of them aren't really as aware of when that law takes effect. Can you tell our viewers and our listeners, when does that law go into effect?
That law goes into effect July 1st of 2020 because all the rates have already been set for the year up until then. So that's when everything can then be changed. So July 1st of 2020. And that is why I'm holding an event now that will be at 3rd New Hope Baptist Church.
That's up on Plymouth?
Road.
Okay.
And I will make sure I pull up the address so I can give you the exact address. And it's going to be on August the 19th. And that event is so that you can bring your auto insurance policy. I want you to bring your insurance policy. I want you to bring it so that we can look at it and see if you're paying for too much coverage right now, if you don't have enough. I want you to get prepared for 2020, know what you need, know what you must have. I want you to be aware. I don't want people who are being loud out here, and just because they're saying it loud does not make it the truth.
And just because they're saying it loud doesn't mean that it is the truth, because you do have a lot of people that talk loud, but sometimes people that talk the loudest sometimes may say the least.
They're saying the least and they're saying nothing really.
Well, now, you say this event is going to be, say it again, next when?
August 19th, which is a Monday.
Okay. And that's going to be at Third New Hope, which is right there on Plymouth near Myers, correct?
Yes, it is.
So
And-
now, the main thing is that if you have insurance on your vehicle, bring that policy with you
Yes.
to the church, and then you'll have people that'll be there that can look at the policy and tell whether or not if they're paying more than what they should be paying.
Yes, and then another great thing, I'm glad you're mentioning that. There are some wonderful things in this policy, in this bill. I'm sorry,
In this law.
this law, is that one, the non-driving factors, your age, whether you have an education or not, your marital status, whether you're male or female, and so on and so forth, your credit report. These are things that I actually, while people were on Facebook talking about what time it was, I was fighting for amendments then. And that amendment is in the law. And now those factors are no longer allowed for you to be discriminated against. It's in the law. So those were things that were extremely important to me, and I promised people that that would get done, and I made sure that it did get done. You know, I wanted to make sure that people, if they had a lapse in coverage, that they will not be penalized for that any longer. Everyone knows what that's like and how to be hit with that lapse of coverage and how you just get penalized to the hilt. And it's just like you can't even do anything. You're paralyzed.
Well, the one thing that I keep hearing, Karen, is a lot of people talk about the zip codes, and
That's
where you
included
may
in it
have
as well.
somebody that lives on one side of the street paying more than somebody that lives on the other side of the street.
Yes, I was one of those people. So in 48227, I live 2 blocks east of Schaefer.
Okay.
So therefore, my insurance, just for myself only, was $1,900 higher. $1,900 higher. $1,900 higher. So let me say, I'm not up here just doing whatever. I'm fighting for myself. I'm fighting for the people in my community. I'm fighting for the people in my block. I'm not going to give anybody crappy law. And I'm not going to stop trying to make amendments to this. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. But I will be fighting, and I will be listening to the people, and that's why I want them to come to the town hall. Let's talk. Let's talk about what's in here, and let's talk about what we need to do better.
Well, see, that's a good thing to do, because a lot of times people talk amongst themselves.
Right.
But you need to talk more with the people that actually can make some things happen from the things that you're talking about. You know, people can talk on Facebook and hope that somebody reads it. But I think, you know, to have a town hall meeting like the one that you are having on the 19th gives people an opportunity to have some conversation in front of the people that could help make that conversation come into more ears that can make some changes.
Exactly. I mean, I pride myself on having an extreme open dialogue with the people in my community. They are family. I pride myself on having that. I pride myself on which is, you know, going to a lot of block club meetings. I didn't do a lot of those before. I don't do a lot of those now, because I pride myself on picking up the phone and having conversations with people or going to their home. I like having those one-on-one conversations because that's how I built my relationship with everyone in the first place. And that's how I'm going to continue.
Well, that's how you built your relationship to get elected.
Yeah, and that's what I love to do. I love for people to, they have my cell phone number. They call me. They call me. They don't have to call the office.
Well, now, how much rate relief can the residents in Detroit see once this auto insurance reform goes into effect?
Okay, so there is a different breakdown that goes through with this, and this is kind of just an overall. So let me pull this up for you. All right, so when we're talking about the PIP, now on my PIP, which is on
And
the
explain what PIP is.
PIP is personal injury protection. So on my PIP, when I sent out the flyer, I wanted people to know, just for my husband and myself, we're going to save approximately $2,600. So for somebody to say only 10% or only 20% or only 30%, I don't know what only is to you, but only is quite a bit of money to me. $2,600 is a lot of money. I can do a lot with that. So don't count my money for me. Let me count my money. So with that being said, I want people to come in because the people who are going to see the greatest benefit for this, as I promised, are my seniors. They are going to receive the greatest benefit of this first. So with them already having Medicare, they will not have to pay twice as they have been, paying for PIP and paying for their Medicare. They will not have to do that any longer. So if their savings may be different, it depends on the insurance company, it depends on, you know, the policy that's there, how much they have paid. It all depends. But let me tell you, only is not a small amount of money. I don't care what it is, and it looks a whole lot better in your pocket than somebody else's.
Well, now, with this rate relief accomplished through the
Wait a minute,
PIP,
hold on, Darren. I don't want anybody to
go
say
ahead.
that I didn't answer that question.
Go ahead.
So we're talking about 35% for those who choose $250 coverage level, a savings of 20% for people who choose $500,000 coverage, 10% for drivers who continue to purchase the unlimited coverage level, 100% on PIP costs for drivers who private health insurance plans that cover injuries sustained in an auto accident, and seniors with retiree health care will be able to opt out of medical coverage through their car insurance policy. And then there's a 45% for Medicaid recipients of the at the $50,000 PIP coverage level. Now, when you come to the town hall, we will explain this to you and we will break it down for you so that you completely understand. I want to make sure every single person walks out of there knowing this stuff like the back of their hands. They will be an expert on this.
So now this is going to be for anybody that lives, let me make sure I'm understanding this right. Regardless of where you live at in the city of Detroit, you can still come to this town hall meeting.
Yeah, you can
and
come
get
to it.
explanation about your insurance, your policy. Bring your policy. Make sure that you go and ask whatever questions that you've asked
You can come to this.
before amongst each other. But now you can ask some of the experts to
Yes,
find out
and
what's
like
what.
like I say, I want people to have knowledge. Knowledge is power. I want you to have knowledge. I don't want you to have this hearsay from anybody else. I want you to have this knowledge for yourself.
Okay.
And that's extremely important that you have this.
Now, what will happen to people who have been catastrophically injured when this law goes into effect?
Those that have already been catastrophically injured, that money is not going anywhere. They still will be taken care of. That is not ending. The catastrophic care is not going anywhere. If you still want that, you can still pay for that. It is a chance for you to change your level of coverage. I have lived in other states before. When I lived in other states and money was tight, I went for the lower coverage. When things got better in a few months, I went back up to the higher coverage.
Okay.
It's a chance for you to get your life together. Like I said, nothing's worse than for somebody else to count your money for you. Let me count my money myself. I can do this. I can handle this. I'm an adult. We're all adults here. And you don't need somebody to tell you what you can and can't do with your money and how you need to do it.
Now, does this target fraud or any other abuse of the system?
This will definitely target fraud because we have just MRIs, a bone being broken. No one should have to pay for a bone being broken over $2,000, $3,000. That costs $400 and something. No one should have to pay for, which all of us are paying for it, for someone's sister to take care of them that's making over $30-something an hour. This is ridiculous. You know, we have to take the fraud out of this, get it to where it needs to be so that it can be affordable for all of us. We're all in this. This is all a pool, so it affects all of us.
Now, when you say it's a pool, explain what you mean when you say it's a pool.
Okay, I'll give an example for healthcare, for example. Okay, so we do not pay the same cost for healthcare as in other cities. We don't pay the same healthcare because if you look at the restaurants that are in other cities, the stores that are in other cities, the parks that are in other cities, I'm talking about Michigan, the healthy things that they have access to, the healthy pool of younger people that are there in that area brings their health care costs down because they have a healthier lifestyle in that area.
Okay.
My area, for example, not as much showing that it has a healthier environment. You have more diabetic locations for treatment. You have more CVS's and Walgreens. You have more fried food and McDonald's and so on and so forth. We don't have as many parks like that for walking and working out. We do not have a rec center in our area. So even our children are susceptible to what's going to be coming down the road. Our insurance is higher, even for health care. So we have to change our lifestyle even when it comes to health care, and we have to change our lifestyle even when it comes to driving. And I honestly take it all the way back to the fact that we no longer have driving in schools. If we had driving back in schools, it would make a heck of a difference.
What type of difference? Because I know that when I was in driver's ed, my driving, you know, we went to the high schools and we learned right there because I learned driver's ed at McKenzie High School.
Exactly.
But now you have to get a privately owned company to go through, as well as to take, a certain number of hours that you have to drive along with a licensed driver, and then to go and take the test. So what do you see as the difference between then and now, as far as, say, in the drivers and how they were coming up today compared to how they came up back in the day?
I would say the difference is that you had a more extended time of driving when you were in high school.
Okay.
It was more of an extended learning, whereas now you're paying, if a parent can afford it, over $500. You have kids that are learning later. They're learning as adults and not as kids. So they're learning later in life. They're not having the luxury of being on their family's insurance to be able to drive the vehicle, so they're not driving longer and younger. So I think it makes a huge difference in the amount of accidents and so forth that are out there on the streets, because you have people who are a whole lot older driving and they're new drivers.
Okay. Now, in the short period of time we've got left again, the importance to come out to this event at Third New Hope, kind of reemphasize again why it's important for people to bring their policies to this event, and regardless of where they live at in the city of Detroit, they should still come and attend this event, because a lot of times you have people that go to events and they can be the emissaries to share that with other people that may have questions. So now, one question I want to ask you before you ask, kind of reiterate again where that's going to be taking place at. Will this be videotaped, or will there be some kind of way to where there'll be some handouts to where you can pass it on to others that might not be able to attend? Or might there be another town hall that you or another legislator might have, maybe on the west side of Detroit, or the east side, of Detroit, for those that can't come to the one at Third New Hope?
There will be another town hall, but I do not want you to wait for another town hall. It is important that you come to this one so that you have this information, that you get it in your hands. I'm telling you, it would be the biggest relief for you to know this law. It would be the biggest relief for you. So I don't want you to wait for the next one. I I want you to see how this is going to affect your life so that you can do proper planning for next year. I think that's extremely important, and you don't have to deal with the scare tactics of the sky is falling. I don't want anybody out here dealing with that. No one, which is why I'm doing this, and I will continue to do this. I would not do anything to hurt or harm my community in any way, shape, or form. No way. So I will be doing a lot more of these, but please do not wait until the next one. I want you to come to this one. It is at 3rd New Hope, and let me get you the address. 1 second here. Sorry, I did not have it
And that's
pulled
going to
up.
be on August the 19th, correct?
Yes, August the 19th.
And what's the time are you looking up the address?
It is at 6 o'clock.
So
And
6 o'clock in the evening.
yes, and the address is, and of course it doesn't give the address because it's 3rd New Hope. On their website, it does not have the
Well,
address.
I can help. I know 3rd New Hope is right there.
Is that,
it's about 3
Myers?
blocks west of Myers.
Yes.
Off Plymouth Road.
Yes. And it does not have the address even on their website.
But if you go 3 blocks west of Myers,
You will not miss
you
it.
cannot miss it because it's right there. And who's the, you know, who the pastor is there? Because a lot of people know church is based on pastors.
Okay, the pastor is Dr. E.L. Branch
Branch.
Sr.
See, that's how I knew it from. Okay. And
It's
now,
not
the-
on there. Just
but
to
now
let
the
you
main
know.
thing is that to come there 6 o'clock. Now, what time will it end?
It should end by 8, but you know what? I just want to make sure people are taken care of. I want to make sure people feel comfortable, that they have the information that they need,
Okay.
that they feel secure in this, and knowledgeable. You
Okay.
know, they feel knowledgeable and that they have what they need. I want people to have what they need.
And if anybody needs to contact you or to get more information about it, is there a website or a phone number they can call?
As always, you know, anybody knows they can always call my cell phone, 313-330-6099. Again, that's 313-330-6099. My cell phone number has not changed. It's on all my mailers and everything else too, or you can contact my office, and you can Google that up there at State Representative Karen Whitsett.
Now, is there a Facebook page with the flyer on it? So that,
On the State Representative page. You can find it on there.
Okay.
And like I say, I want people to know what their savings is. I think this is extremely important. I want you to be prepared for 2020 and then to go into 2021.
And again, state that you said it's going to be in July of 2020 when that law is
July
going to take
1st
effect.
of 2020. So I can't be lying because it's coming. It's
It's the
happening.
law, right.
It's the law. It's not a bill. It's the law. The governor signed it.
And that makes it a law.
That makes it a law.
All right. Well, I definitely appreciate you, State Representative, the Honorable Karen Whitsett, for coming on the show today. We'll have to have you back on the show again
Happy
after,
to.
you know, the, your town hall meeting, concludes.